I'm Estelle Thomson, your mistress of radiance, and this is Walk With Me in Butterfly Alley, a Chic West podcast revival. This is a 10-minute audio series about living a meaningful, sparkly life. One walk, one idea, one story. In each 10 minutes mini episode, I'll share with you what I've been thinking about, what life is teaching me, and maybe a question for your own reflection. So grab a coffee, lace up your shoes, or simply settle in. Let's take a walk together, unfiltered. Welcome to Butterfly Alley. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about sex. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not, because I want to talk about the viral show off campus, most especially the character of Garrett Graham. Look, full disclosure about me, I love sex. I think a lot of women do. And maybe for another podcast, I want to talk a bit more about that. I think right now I want to speak just my reaction about that show. And I think there's lots to be learned here about the trends, like what's happening with women like me, like mid 40s. Like what is it that these shows, I mean, I saw so many memes after Off Campus was aired. By the way, Off Campus is just on Prime, and it's a young adult show. It's made from a book of the same, no, not the same name. It's The Deal. I also read the book. I am famously, like, I love Bridgerton too. When I first watched the first series of Bridgerton, I was so obsessed that I read after that the whole book series. I think there's like 8 books. I still have to read the prequel. But I actually love that. And I'm so obsessed sometimes, like, I'll watch the show, I'll read the book, and then I'll rewatch the show to see what I've missed. I'll, be like, and I did that with Outlander too, the show Outlander. Love Outlander. And with the books, and there was a great podcast. It was Outlander Cast. It was a couple doing this podcast from Rhode Island, if I'm correct, but they were just so personable. Like, you felt they were like your friends. And because my world is, I my work is very deep, and it's very abstract and metaphysical. So a lot of time to like escape, I just need something where I can be in a land that doesn't exist. So Outlander is really good for that, because it's like historical fiction, but also it's fantasy, but also it's a love story. It basically has all the components. For that. But that podcast, because I'm one of the only person that I know that watches this show. So having a podcast that just discuss and sees the things that I see. And funnily enough, I learn a lot from fiction. And I think I read a lot of personal development books, but I think as much I read fictions and real people's life, real human stories. But back to off campus. So I literally watch, I think there's a nostalgia to the show when it comes to, like, again, I'm like an elder millennial. I think there's something else to call me too, because I'm in that window where from like 1970, I'm born in 81. So I think like from 1977 to 1983, we are still the generation that like didn't have any cell phones or something, didn't have computer. I remember like the internet started, I was maybe in grade 8. I remember it was like the dial in and like that and like you went on, and my uncle had come to our house. I remember, and it was like this new things. It was crazy. And then he was like just telling me not to talk to strangers on the internet, and like, can you imagine? Like, it was like a whole new world out there. Anyways, I digress, but I think shows like off campus, and even like when Normal People came out, if you watch Normal People, that's also a book by Sally Rooney. And I was obsessed with that show. It was just such a window into a time where like I thought I had problems, but like I so didn't, like we were just so self-centered, and the things that matter, like I wish sometimes I could just go back to that time, like my early 20s, and be like, "Girl, this is the time of your life." And not that now I'm not having the time of my life, because I am, and I'm just so relieved to be mature and to have so much more bandwidth. I was so flimsy when I was in my 20s, and I was just kind of a shell of myself. But yeah, did I have a lot of fun? And I was this about me, I'm such a lover girl. So I attracted a lot of bad boys in my early 20s, let's just say, and that was on me. Like, now I realize it was like a projection of all my insecurities. It was a projection of, yeah, me feeling less than. It was a projection of me feeling like shit and basically attracting guys that also felt like shit and that would make me feel more like shit. But thank God my husband broke the cycle for me. It could have gone really bad for me. Let's just say.
Psst, the planner is back for its eighth year. Keep an eye out for my newest creation, the Guide to a Magic Life 2027 Planner, the Things That Fly edition, arriving soon. Inspired by butterflies, birds, bees, migration, and transformation, this planner is a companion for women navigating change, trusting their wings, and becoming who they are meant to be. Like all good things in nature, the planner is seasonal and available in limited quantities. If you've been thinking about journeying with me through 2027, you'll want to keep watch for its release in early September. You can find all of my paper goods, paintings, and creative offerings at estellethomson.com under shop. Now back to our walk.
I'm just fascinated by, seen, like, the show went viral. It went viral for a few things. I think one of the things is like it repaired a lot of our relationship. Like, I think for me, number one is the way that Garrett Graham makes, what's her name? Wellesley feels, he makes her feel safe. And there's like a trust there, like safety and trust and boundaries, and done in a way that we've never seen men do that on. Again, it was like, and from what I understand, it was, this show was written by women, like men were written by women, or even just see guys talk about like pleasuring women. Like, seriously, like when I watched that, I was like, yeah, right. Like I like I laughed. I was like, this would never happen. But why? Like, maybe it does. Like, maybe it's teaching us something. Like, why can't two guys talk about, like, making a woman come? Like, are you like, it is possible, but I think at the end of the day, and also, like, there was a mention I saw too of it, like, not having bad girls, or like, yeah, again, like, bad girls phenomenon. And it's true, like Kendall, who I guess plays the quote unquote bad girl, like she ends up being nice, and she ends up having, he like, a public forgiveness by him. Like, these are things we've never seen on TV before. Or like, why would it be so crazy to like worry about a woman's pleasure? Like, how incredibly awesome. Like a few things, and I think one of, the first, I think it's episode 5, the sex scene where they both like self-pleasure themselves. Spoiler alert, by the way. Um, it's so well made, where like again, I don't think we've seen that, and I don't think it's so refreshing. And And that's why I want to talk about desires too. But because like Gareth is so attentive to Wellesley, it's like he gets it out of her. But I think my whole point is that I just which also that scene was I thought was too short. In obviously, it's, it was for the purpose of the TV show, but I think in real life that scene would have been a bit longer, and I think it could have worked as well in the TV show, but maybe that's a personal preference of mine. Um, but I think like reflecting on this character that is Garrett Graham, I think we could all use to be our own Garrett Graham. Like, I think it was an incredible portrait of a lead male in a TV show, just kind of like Connell is in Normal People, where he like repairs a lot, like even the sex scenes in Normal People, where like uses protections or like, like it's so much more real. And it's like so refreshing to see that on TV where it's like not the illusion of it. Um, and like just the fact that it went viral and like the fantasy, I guess, of Garrett Graham, it's like, I really think we can give that to ourselves, like our own sense of safety, our own self trust. We can tune into our own desires, our needs, our wants, and and make those like know that it's a safe way to express ourselves. So gals, let's become our own Garrett Graham. How about that? And I think like to if we can cultivate that within ourselves, then that's what we're going to attract in our life. The night I met Scott, I was just recently thinking about that because I was teaching about black magic, black fire, excuse me. And the night I met him, I was so tired. I was just exhausted. I couldn't give a fuck anymore. I like didn't care. I was like done with my stray of like bad boys, and like I just was just so myself, and there's like an energy to this like kind of fuck it energy where you are just you just and I don't say it's like a nonchalant don't care, but it's like this is me. Like take it or leave it. Like this is me. And and you're walking around like it's safe to be this way, but almost like in a surrendered way. But that's the night I met the love of my life. That's the night I've met my destiny. And there's really something to say about that where, I was, it's like take it or leave it, and Garrett Graham, he's just a projection of what we want as women and what's most important to us, which that's fascinating. Safety, trust, laughing, dancing, like even just seeing a guy dancing on TV, like that doesn't happen often, since like Dirty Dancing or whatever. So, anyways, I hope you get to watch this show, but most importantly, I hope that you become your own Garrett Graham. And perhaps the question is for today, like, where do you feel the most safe? And maybe where do you feel the most sexy? And who in your life can you trust the most? Do you trust yourself? And so I love you so much. Okay, we'll talk about sex another time. I know it's a hot topic. See ya.